guys, welcome to another interesting episode of the Japa Diary. As you already know, my name is Mina, and with me today we have a special guest with us in the studio today, in person of Madame Buki. She is the CEO of Everything Entrepreneurship, African Entrepreneurship in the city where we're located. I'll keep that one. I'll keep it. I'll let her do the full introduction. So yes, she's the CEO of Harmony Hair, Edo's Direct, and 329 Shirley. It's a restaurant, like a African restaurant. See, guys, I can't praise her enough. The contribution she's done within the community here in Southampton, Hampshire. I would let her do the introduction as well. But thank you very much, Madam Vicky. It's good to have you today in the studio. I know it was a short notice, but we really appreciate that you could take out time to visit us today and come here.
Well, thank you for having me as well. It's quite an honor as well.
Oh,
Yeah, so my name is Bukola George, and yes, I run founded Harmony Hair. Harmony Hair is well, it's in Shirley, so is Edo's Direct. Edo's Direct is also 333 Shirley Road, and 329 Cafe, which is an Afro fusion. When I say fusion, I say it lightly because actually we serve very, very authentic Nigerian dishes alongside English
I've had a
dishes
taste
as
of that,
well.
guys, and it's really good. I can tell you that. Take it from me now.
Yes,
But yeah,
please listen to me now.
but yeah, thank you very much. We'll come. I mean, as we carry on, guys, as you know, we'll get into the details and we'll spill all the tea and we'll bring to you every benefit that we can because it's the whole purpose of the podcast. That's the essence. So we can learn one or two things from people that have come ahead of us into this country and see what are those lessons that we could learn from them. So, guys, as you already know, we'll come into the main gist. I will bring to you, those very beneficial conversations like we do have. But before we start, or before we go ahead into the main conversation, I mean, as it is our tradition on the podcast, we'll typically ask you our first question. And the question is, what is your Japa story, Bucky?
Okay, my Japa story, as such is that we came over when I was 10 years old, yes. And yeah, that was some 30 something years ago.
We keep that, don't worry. We like 30 something.
Okay, so I came because I think in Nigeria at the time there was a spate of robberies in like different parts of the country. You had like I don't know if you heard it. There were stories of people taking lorries and armed robbers going to people's houses and
Wow.
literally like
Maybe
time.
similar to this 1 million boys that we heard
Yeah,
years
well, yeah,
ago
that
after
this was
during COVID.
yes, this was ages ago. They would come in like their 20s or their 30s
Wow.
to your house, armed robbers, proper, So my parents were really worried because I am one of six, and so my older sister, then she was in boarding school, so she
Mhm.
would come home from school, and this happened during the 6 weeks holiday.
Okay.
My dad was like, he was devastated. Thank God nothing happened to her, but the fact that the armed robbers were there and all his kids were home, his wife and
Yeah,
everything. The man was like, Elijah,
I've had it.
I've had
I
enough, you guys.
mean,
So yeah, I'll be going away. He didn't leave. He didn't leave Nigeria.
okay.
Yeah, he just merely told us all to go, come to England because he couldn't fathom what would have happened. I remember him saying, because he had a double barrel shotgun as every
That's every
responsible Nigerian
Nigerian
man
will
would have.
do.
And he said, I don't know what I would have done, if anything happened to his daughters in front of his eyes. So that was the catalyst, I think, for my parents to send us to come here. But they were here before. They were here in the 60s. So he was in the Navy. So yeah, so he just basically sent them all back. And yeah, that's my
That's your
Jackal story.
that's your Japa
That's
story.
Jackal story. Yeah, so that's how we ended up here, basically. Again, it was the economy in Nigeria. It was a situation in Nigeria that kind of the insecurity, which is
Okay.
still
It's still
present.
there till
Yeah, it's
today.
still there. It's still there. Yeah. So that's
Okay,
something.
okay. It's short and simple, and of course, I mean, and on the podcast we've had
Yeah,
several people who
yeah,
kind of came here
yeah,
as when they were really young,
yeah.
So that's just one of several
Mhm.
stories that we've heard, and I mean, just to pick on the driver for
Mm.
you to leave is that
It
insecurity.
was
So I mean,
insecurity,
like
like
we've
one of
seen
the
in
feature.
recent times, I feel like the driver these days is the economy, the fact that the
Yes,
country
yes.
economy of the country is so bad back home, and everybody's just looking for that, that way out.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
it's
have you heard about the price of tomatoes? Did you hear about the price
I
of pepper in
I
Nigeria?
heard about it, and
Wow.
it's ridiculous. But I mean, that's the height of it, and it just feels like nothing ever goes back to
To
when the
normal,
to
yeah.
normal even
So
after.
apparently they said rice is going back down to 40K.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But it's until your people start telling
Like
you,
as
oh,
a
it's not
trader.
as good. It's not as good as the previous one that we used to buy
Ah,
or things like that. But it feels like there is always this concern, and just
yeah.
to pray with, there's a concern around when things are not expensive for us in Nigeria. We just feel
Mm.
like it's something fake.
So yeah,
It's
it's
it's not that rich.
substandard.
It's
It's
substandard,
substandard.
exactly.
Of course, it's substandard. It's made in Nigeria.
Exactly. So, but yeah, so yeah, let's just go, back to the conversation. So now it's been what 40 something years that you've been in this
Yes,
country,
yes.
and I'm sure you've seen different phases
Mm.
of the Western country itself that we adore so much.
Mm.
We've come into this country and it feels like, oh my God, everything works. There is road network, there is transportation, there is this,
Yes,
there is that.
yes.
What was it like 40 something years ago when you came, and what is it like today? Like, I would like for you to pinpoint that very big difference.
For me. Um, yes, it was still quite organized as it is. I would say perhaps a little less organized today.
Mhm.
Okay, we've got more technology, but it's a little less organized in terms of like the money that the government has to throw into infrastructure, to throw into services around in the economy, like services in the community.
Mhm.
Back then, for me, I think it was the shock coming from Nigeria to here was the size of the houses. How,
So that means it has always been, because I was going to come to that and be like, what's your cultural shock? But tell
no,
me about it.
that was my shock because I remember writing a letter to my parents, and the letter read something like, "Mommy, I didn't ask to be born. I don't understand. You hate us that much. My room is the size of this flat, this whole apartment that you brought us into. Mommy, I really want to go back home." That was how mine read. I
Right.
think she was like, "Oh God, okay, I'm coming," and she came. But that was a massive shock for us. The living environment,
Yeah.
like this is a BQ.
I mean, compared to what we build in Nigeria, absolutely.
BQ, like in a normal, like average Nigerian house in
Houses.
Nigeria. So it was like, mommy, what is going on? But in the end, you adjust to it, and then you think, actually, looking back now, I actually think it was where we started here
Okay.
that's what made me feel like that. Over the years, I realized that you can have the big mansion even in the UK. You can have the house with the BQ
Mhm.
even in the UK.
Really?
Yes, you
Excuse.
can buy land
And then build on it.
and build on it. I know Nigerians here in Southampton that have bought land and they not too far away from here either. So yeah, it's possible. And I think the big thing for me is you have to, when you land, the people that you meet initially
Mhm.
make a huge impact on your psyche, on how you want to quickly progress. And I think that's why it's important to network, and it's important for us to tell our stories positively. Not You don't want people to suffer just because you suffered when you came in. It's not necessary that we must all go through that
I
nonsense.
mean,
Just because why not find a way out for like the new immigrants, and I think that's some of the groups that we have now. That is
absolutely.
something that they're doing beautifully, enabling each other, educating each other, informing each other, so that they're not falling into the same old pitfalls,
Of course.
or problems that some people, have fell into. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Such an insightful, like I like how you've, patterned and explained, that
Mm,
difference.
mm.
And yes, that house one, I feel like it was a shock for I don't want to say every African, every
It's
Nigerian.
a letter. It's a
Right?
long letter. The one that drove my mother to come back to the UK.
Oh my God, like
She was my
imagine this. When I came, I had the same feeling like the house so small. Like, why is it so small? You know, when you said it, I'm quite shocked
Mm,
because I have this ideology of okay, the new builds, the new houses.
mm,
It feels like those ones are smaller. But when you see the old houses, it feels like they're bigger. So if at the time, which I think the houses then is what I would term as
mm.
old houses now, if you're saying those houses were small, now compared to the new builds of now, like those ones are cubicles.
Yes, I agree. Even
Like,
they're even worse, I guess,
yes,
because
yeah, that's what I'm
yeah,
driving at. Like
yeah.
this one
Um,
seems small now, and I'm seeing what you saw as small as like that's obviously quite big.
I think there are big houses, big bungalows in Nigeria.
Oh, big bungalows.
There are big bungalows in Nigeria. If you think of an average house in Nigeria, they are like, and they are not big, like four times the size of a so-called detached, you know, building over here, detached house that you're going to spend like, I don't know, 500,000 on over here. You know, by the time you spend £500,000 on a house in Nigeria, say seriously.
You know the mansion that I'm going to put somewhere in Lekki, like in the high end part of Nigeria, not just
You
anywhere.
stay in Ikeja,
Yes, if we were to stay
stay on the mainland, please.
yeah, great. Thank you very much. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so thank you. We have like that overview of your background. Okay, you literally grew up here.
Yeah.
I could introduce you. You have loads of, businesses
Mm.
here. How
Just
did
three,
you?
just three. Not
Okay,
loads.
three. It's a good number. I,
Yes,
I would say, like,
yes.
it's not a small feat to own in another man's land. I'm
Mm,
sorry, but in
mm.
the end, this is not our
Yes, it's true.
our home,
It's true, you're
So
right.
it's a big thing, and I'm going
Mm,
to elaborate on it. I'm going to make it seem like,
mm.
but yeah. So did you go from? What was that turning point for you to say you want to be an entrepreneur? So
Okay. This is a good time to actually answer that question.
yeah,
Not in this room, but in the economical situation
okay,
at the moment. A lot of us are going through redundancies because companies are cutting back and so on and so forth. I think this is my third recession I've experienced as an individual in the UK. So I remember going through the first recession when I just bought my first flat. Imagine buying a flat and they say that the repayment is like £400. And then the interest rate goes up and then it becomes like £700. Yeah? More than half your salary. It's like, what do you do? So that was a shock. It was scary, because if I then lost my job, that means I will lose my whole deposit. Yeah. What is this? So that was the first thing. Second recession came along again. I think I probably was contracting or something. Or no, sorry. Second recession came about near the 9/11. Was it 9/11? Yeah, something like that. Anyway, it blurs now. But the point I'm trying to make is every time the recession came along, there will be job losses, there will be redundancies, and I felt so vulnerable, so vulnerable,
yeah,
and I hate to feel vulnerable.
don't we all?
So, especially financially,
Yeah,
because in this country, I don't know if it applies to everybody, but by the time you go without a job for 3, 4 months, you're nearly homeless.
yeah. Well, you need to save so Nigerian people can hear. Yes.
You go without a job for 3 or 4 months in the
Okay.
UK, you are compared to homeless. So that was my catalyst for being self-employed.
Okay.
Um, this came about, I think about my daughter's 18 now, so I think about 16 years ago. And again, I just trying to get back into work after having my first child. And it was just like, oh, it's so, taking a break as a mom from
Yeah, maternity
careers,
and all.
and then it throws you back. And then I got back into it. And I think something was happening in the economy. And again, said, okay, you know what? You need to start working
It's
for
high.
yourself now. It's high time. I thought about consultancy. I thought about all sorts of things. And then I got pregnant again, as women do, with twins. I said, having twins. I said, that's it. In fact, I don't know what kind of job you want to get, but
The shop.
that's it. That's going to pay for childcare of three
Yes.
kids and still you be able to support, yourself and stuff. So, um, I don't know if you know, but childcare is also notoriously expensive in the
Yes.
country.
Yes.
So I'm thinking childcare, 3 kids. Oh, that's about, say, on average, that's 1,500. Right. So now I need to go and find a job that allows me to be with the kids, that allows me to have a little bit extra, and also pay the childcare fee so that it's worth me going to work. So that's when I thought, right, okay, you're gonna stay home. I mean, I trained as an oil analyst. That's something that a lot of people don't know about me. Trading oil on the international markets, Cambridge. My first degree was business information systems. Look at that. So I've not always been a market woman, but I've always been on the market. Right. I've got good thumbs because I mean I love Korean women. I mean, so well done. Thank you. So it's a big thing, me saying that I needed a job or needed something doing that revolved around my family. Family is so important to me. And I felt, okay, so if I'm out of the house and dad is out of the house, then who looks after the children? Formative years for children in this country, I think it's literally like that first 7 years of their lives. So I was determined to find something to do. So I started learning. I remember my hairdresser then, she was laughing at me. She said, Madam, why are you? I said, don't worry, just let me watch you. Let me come and help you, And I learned how to do it. You could do any, like every Nigerian can do like three strands or whatever. That's how it started. I started, I think one of the times that I was on maternity, I wanted to buy hair. We had an occasion to go to, and couldn't find original hair. Um, I think there's some very influential hair. Is it Chioma Good Hair? Yes,
Yes,
Chioma
Chuma
Good
Hair.
Hair,
Yes, I do.
right?
Yeah.
So they used to have like sales in
Mhm.
Canning Town back in the day,
Okay.
and there were three of them. Yeah. So I remember we queue up for miles just to go and buy the hair. So that day I went, I bought the hair. I have to buy the This is original and it's not so expensive. Bang, my concept. I looked for the supplier, I found the supplier. After finding the supplier, I said, let me just start with what do you call it now? Like not crowdfunding as such, but I would say to people, right, I'm going to get in very high and very good quality hair. So I need 5 people or 10 people to put this amount of money forward. I can start your business for you. I can start your business for you, and I can supply one, two, three, 5. And that's how it started. So I'd get the money, and then I'll go and buy, and then sell, and gradually, slowly, had the boys, and I was still selling, and I was still doing hair, and the rest I won't say is history. Another the going into retail. Yeah, it was quite it wasn't planned as such, but I had a business partner before, and we were going to do. I wanted to have a spa, and it might still be something that comes about one day. And their advice was, "Oh, Bookie, don't put everything into the spa. It's a lot of money to put down for a spa." I said, "So what do you suggest?" She said, "I suggest we go to the bank and borrow this." I'm always averse. I'm scared. I've never actually borrowed money from the bank. Yeah, do anything. And thank God we didn't get the funding initially, because the minute we started, things fell apart. Partnerships are they're like so hard to keep up. So things fell apart within 2, 3 months. I remember. So that was my first grocery shop. So I still had my hairdressing business. Yeah. And then I went into grocery with this person, and it fell apart within, as I said,
3 months,
so
very
quickly,
quickly.
so
So
quickly.
imagine you've gone to
And
borrow
I
money
was
from the bank.
panicking. I didn't borrow money, thankfully, but it was my life savings. And I was like, so what do I do? This is my children's, this is my children's money for like their future. What do I do? And I remember then saying to some of I begged the girl to just give me back the money that I put in, please. Bella Bush. I
Yeah,
begged. Really, I said, please, I'm sorry for the non-vernacular speakers, but I literally begged and I said, please, just, whatever I can get back, just give it back to me. And I remember um, using that money, and I couldn't get some cash back, but I got some goods back. Hence, the story of retail came into it.
Okay.
So I started selling some food stock. I had to divide the first job that I had because when that
That's your
partnership,
salon.
yeah, that's the first job that I got. Well, because the partnership broke down, I had to write a thing saying I couldn't open a shop, a retail shop, within I think it was 20 miles
From
of where we had the
okay.
shop. The rent in
Your
the
salon is where? Is it within that?
I lived in Ferrum.
Okay.
And so now, where I am now is like 20 miles away from there. And I remember saying, the rent in Ferrum was, I don't know, maybe 4,000 for the whole year. The rent where I am now is like £16,000. Oh God, how am I going to do it? With faith. Because sometimes you've got to sort of walk in it. You know, I remember coming in very, very scared, and I divided one shop. I divided into two. One side was a salon, and the other side was, hence, if you go by the shop now, you would still see Edo's Direct and
Yeah.
Harmony Hair. So that was the genesis of the retail. So we did that, and I nearly closed down. Yes, I nearly closed down. The story nearly came to an end, but out of like the adversity, gain. Because this
Came
is
another
you're talking about.
opportunity.
Yes, came another opportunity. So we had COVID.
Okay.
So when we had COVID, what seemed like a mad, crazy idea that no one supported, even insurance companies wouldn't insure me straight away because they were like, well, this doesn't happen. Why would you have food shop next to the
Yes.
hairdressers?
Yeah.
And I used to explain there's a partition, clinical, long just to get insured, just to get, still didn't get the funding, but we got insurance. So that was important. And then COVID, they couldn't open salons. Because I was selling food, I could open. Because I was selling food, I could still sell hair products. So guess what happened? It was huge. It was an explosion. Something that nearly, in fact, it nearly closed. Like I'm talking about, I was already decluttering. Like I even remember one day one woman came in and I said, "What do you want?" She said, she was stuttering. I said, "Sis, pick whatever you want." Because in my mind, I was already closing. I'm closing as in I'm just clearing stuff. I said, "Pick whatever you want from the shop. Just take. God said I should bless you." She looked at me like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, God said I should bless you. Pick." She prayed out. Nigeria, she prayed out, prayed out, prayed out, prayed out, prayed out. I said, "Thank you, ma. Thank you very much. Just take and go." So that week, the pandemic, I think it was March 20 something of March. I remember the day clearly. That was it. And then the thing blew up. Before you know, we came out some big figures after recession. And we had no place else to go than open, move the salon out, and then the next story.
I mean, you know what they say, what God cannot do does not
It
exist.
does not exist, my
Literally.
sister. I'm telling you, this is me. So, can I go on? No. I say, don't give up is my thing. When it comes to being an entrepreneur, even when it looks quite bleak, even when you think childcare, even when you think, oh, marriage has collapsed, or, I don't have good credit, or I don't have anyone to lend me or borrow me some money, it's possible.
Always possible, guys. I hope you've learned one or two things from that very quick. I know it's more than that. You just tried to handpick a lot of them, yes, and give us like the basic,
Yes,
things that you think have pushed you and has driven you today. And I would say,
Yeah.
well done for not giving up. Like, thank you. I feel like a lot of us who have come into the country these days look up to people like you, who've been here for a while and has done great things like that. So thank you. We take a lot of inspiration from that. So I know you've touched on a bit of the next question I was going to ask you, and it's around raising kids abroad. It's quite different from. I just want us to touch these little things. We've talked about the entrepreneurship part, but I just wanted us to go into that. Family raising kids. A lot of people are coming into this country now. I would say to you, very unprepared mentally and even physically. And we've seen lots of videos and things online. People complaining, particularly we Africans, we have our ways. We have the way we raise children. We have a discipline. Back home, we're used to having family around to support us. When we're going out, we can leave our kids in the house, and your tenant would look after the kids properly before you come back. So, what was that for you? And what would you say to people that are coming in now? Because I feel like they're not getting it right.
Well, from some of the stories that I've heard, yes, I think caution and this kind of testimonies will help. For me, I thank God. I haven't finished yet, but my daughter's 18 now. She did so well. She got very, very good grades, and she's going on to do medicine now.
Wow.
She's 18.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it was not easy, I'll say that, because, wow, I was on my own with them from when I had the twins. So that was 13 years ago. I've been on my own. A lot of people don't know that because I don't. I just don't. Yeah, I just feel like it's not necessary. It doesn't define who I am as a mother or as an entrepreneur or whatever. But in this particular sector, I have to mention it because people say, "Oh, we have to work." Find a job that works around your children. Find a balance that works for your family is so important because, as I said about formative years, you need to be there for the children, otherwise somebody else will be bringing up your children. I had this should I say um, resentment. That's the right word. I had this resentment as a professional, having to give up my so-called pension time, having to give up on my progressive my career progression and all of that every time I was pregnant, every time I not forget the other side effects of having a child in the mix and everything, but professionally you are even getting penalized.
Yeah.
So what I say to people, and I'm trying to drum into my daughter now because she's going to medicine, we all know how demanding that is. Yeah, is find a balance, because why are we working at the end of the day? Is it not to have a fulfilled life? Is it not to have a happy life, to leave a legacy for our children, and make an impact on people around us?
Yeah,
is it just for the pound sign? No,
course not.
right? The
Yeah.
pound is supposed to enhance the real reason that we're here. Okay, so for that, as a woman, as I said, I decided, should I be in Qatar for 6 months in a year, which I could be, and they will pay me very, very good money. I'll probably get 80 or 120,000 pounds, but 6 months in a year, somebody else is bringing up my children. And what impact am I going to have overall that makes sense, later on? I thank God I've seen, sorry, I've seen the impact on from coming out on my daughter, my first daughter. Very, I would say, averagely good girl, but she's a great speaks for her because she's, I've been there, I've been on her. No, I'm not your, what do you call it now? Your helicopter. Sorry?
I say your typical African mother.
Um, I'd say the discipline is there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really a believer in, smacking children. I think having very good relationship with your children. And if you are not around, how can you build a relationship with your children? They're going to have attitudes from other children. I remember I used to tell my boys, say, when you enter this house, see that doorstep, see the boundary, you take off that cloak, see that English cloak, take it off, hang it off at the door, and then come in and come correct. When you go outside, you can pick it up. But if I hear that something happened as a result of you wearing that your British coat, and it comes back to me, you're going to bear the consequences of it. When I say consequences, I take things away and I mean it. I don't have to touch you. I remember one of my twin boys, Mommy, why are you shouting at me with your eyes? I don't need to say anything.
I said with your eyes.
You know? Oh,
And now the look now. When they look at you, when African mothers look at you.
Like you and me. Don't worry. The boy said, Mommy, why are you shouting at me? Everybody was, I said, me, what's wrong with you, Taye? Do you see? Yeah. So it's about building a good enough relationship for your children to know what is right and what is wrong. I say, and I bring spirituality rather than religion into this. I say, make sure that your children have a very strong spiritual grounding, because there's so many influences around in way they grow up, in the influences from school and the things that they teach them in school. Try and connect authentically. If it's your tradition to be what's an atheist. Whatever you bring out from being an atheist, make sure it works for you and your family. Don't just base it on something that somebody told you. Have a spiritual connection with mine. We're Christians in my home, and I always tell when they talk about being gay and lesbian and things like that. I remember I said, so Tai, how did you answer? Tai is the talkative. Kenny doesn't talk much. So I said, Tai, how did you answer? Well, I told them that in our house,
Reference
in our house, but I love everybody. But in our house, this is how. Well, I said, well done, thank you. Thank you, sir. We don't hate anybody.
Yeah.
I'll be friends with you. But in our house, this is how we. And that's all you need. How do they know what is right in their house when there is nobody at home?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's the thing you instill in them. It's the background, the foundation.
Yes.
If you set it right.
People might argue that, oh, well, it's okay for you to say that you want to work from home. Find something, build a business, I mean, if you are lucky enough to have a partner that can be the one that gives you the security of having a salary, fair enough. If you decide to have children, I think it's a very big responsibility to make sure, not just for the society, for yourself and for the legacy that you leave behind and for their lives as well, that you train them right, that you try and put 100% into what they call parenting. A lot of people, I feel I'm not perfect. So I remember one occasion they called they called social services and said that one of the boys said he wasn't eating properly. Oops. And also that I didn't cook. Oops. And also that I pushed his head. These teachers in school, they're always looking for, you understand? They're always looking for words
out of the
your
children. Yes.
I said, okay. Please, I need a meeting. I need to meet up with you guys in school. And then I went into the school. I said, okay. I said, I've had a child come through your school. How many children in your school came through with a scholarship, did common entrance, and went on to get 100% scholarship in another school? They said no. I said, okay. I was able to raise one right out of your school. Now, there's these two. What did you say? That I don't feed them? They said, well, that's what the boy said. I said, okay. This is my schedule. I told them my schedule. I said, when that food is on the table, I'm upstairs getting dressed. And when I come back down, they're supposed to have finished their food. So if I don't see any food on the plate, I believe that they've eaten it. And then what do we do? Bags, come on, let's go into the car. We are going home. Did you ask him where he put the food? Or did you ask him?
So you put it in the bin.
So his twin, thank God there's two of them. The other twin told them that no, mommy makes the food. He just didn't like what mommy made. Oh. Imagine if I didn't have another son that could bear witness. So anyway, I cook. My business is food. So I just put pictures. I said, see, this is cooking, this is cooking, this is cooking, this is cooking. And if you want me to, I'll snap a picture of, Yeah. But more often than not, a lot of parents fall into that thing that they accuse them of doing one or two things. I even know a couple that have had to move out of Southampton because they focused on the children. They literally, I'm sorry, but the system does that. I don't know why. I don't know why they designed it like that. They focus on immigrants because they believe that we don't have enough information to fight the system or to fight their narrative of how we bring up children, how we're not doing it right. Be informed. The on the issue of did I push his head? I said, ask him exactly how I pushed his head. And because as I said, I don't smack my kids, but I'll be like, oh yeah, let's go. Or I'll pull your ears, let's go upstairs. Is that smacking your child? No, that's not. But do you know you're right according to the law? I didn't smack. Do you have proof that I smacked? Was there any mark on his body? No, I didn't smack the child. Ask another member of the household. I'm getting home. What? Get in there. Come, sit down. Let's talk.
Okay.
Taye, come sit down. Everybody talk. Are we family? Yes, we are. This is about communicating and having a relationship with your children.
Yeah.
What he did, was that not betrayal? He said, yeah. What, but mommy, what do you mean betrayal? He's talking about me, his mother,
Yeah.
to his teachers. He's gossiping me. His mother, he's the teacher. Taye, do you gossip me? Taye, no, I don't gossip you, mommy. Kendi, why are you gossiping me? Why are you talking about what is going? You need to have that relationship with your children. It's not like you're fighting. You're not fighting them. You're not beating them. But at the end of the day, what goes on in your home, I think it should be sacred.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
not saying that should be give you an excuse to be bullying or beating or abusing your children. No, or at least let them know that. But the next time they will try to get what's it called, like words out, they put words in their mouth.
Yeah.
The next time they try to get words out of my son's mouth, he said, I don't want to gossip about my mom. So if you have any questions, you need to call her and ask her. See, that thing shocked them.
Yeah.
I went to the school. The woman was just laughing her head off.
Yeah.
She
It's the
said,
word gossip for me. Yeah, because like,
but it's gossiping. She says, why are you asking my children? Come and ask me what happened. I don't want to gossip about my mother. If you have anything to ask her, please, you need to call her and ask her. That was it. Because he now has an affinity because he wants to protect the sanctity of his home and he wants to protect his mother and his brother. It's not from abuse. It's not being like, why would I abuse my own child?
Mhm.
Like seriously, the discipline that us Nigerians, I say Nigerians, black people as a whole, the way we discipline our children is a bit firmer. My child can never swear at me. Kilo Jayo. I mean, God, sorry. Like seriously, what's wrong with your head? Why would you think about swearing? The place of not swearing at me. Wow, that.
Dare not.
Not because I will smack it, but the love is there and the respect is there. They say you fear out of love, or is it out of no? You respect out of love, or out of respect? No, it's out of fear. They don't fear me like that. They love me. That's the difference.
And that's where the respect comes
That's
from.
where the respect comes from,
Yeah.
So, I guess that answers the question of.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Like I love how you've put it. I'm a young person too, and I can tell you, I've just
Sorry,
been
I'm
listening to you very
Yeah.
attentively
Okay.
because these are the things we need to hear.
Yeah.
I don't have kids yet,
Yeah.
but I mean, these are the things I want
Yeah.
to keep at the back of my mind for when I decide to start having one. And
Yeah.
I mean, for you guys that have kids already and you've come into this country, two things stuck to me in everything you said, and that's the spirituality, not religion.
Yes.
Because I think we do a lot of things based on religion rather than spirituality. Our own relationship with our God, not based on what someone has said.
Has told me I'm a Christian, as I said, but don't push your values on me because
Exactly. So that's
Yeah.
that's a huge one to hold on. Like
Yeah.
your spirituality,
Yeah.
and then the other one is that relationship
Yeah.
that you build with your children.
Relationship.
Like
It's
it's
very, very
really,
core.
really, I mean, very important.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. I
Okay.
really like that. And again, I'm going to say well done. You've done so well
We
for
haven't
yourself.
finished yet.
I do know. I mean, and it feels like, I mean, somebody out there, and this is me just trying to get into someone's head and say, or if I were the one watching as a third person watching this podcast, I'd say to you, I'll just say to myself like, oh, that's because she's been here for that number of years. Like she's used to the system. How about us that we're just coming in? We had our ways. If there is one thing that's difficult, it's changing people. It's quite difficult, to be honest, considering how we were raised back home, the environment in which we've grown up. We're not used to having conversations with our children.
But I think we should.
Yes, we absolutely should.
think
It
we
takes
should,
that conscious
effort.
effort. Like,
Yeah.
you need to be intentional about it. You need to tell yourself, this is what I want to do. I know it's not easy, but guys,
Because we're in a different environment now.
Absolutely.
And because we're in a different environment, there are outside influences, like your friend from school every day. The parents are like, I love you, and they come to the school, they drop them off, they give them a kiss, and your own parents just push you out of the door. What the hell, Johnny? Kill my share. I'm just too slow. Like seriously, you're like
like it's tough love
What?
from us.
Yes, so learn, parents, learn, please. It's not nice.
But yeah, I like the fact that we could laugh through some of these things, but it's actually our reality, and there are things we need to make conscious effort, narrative that we need to change. And then I think not just two things, maybe the third thing that comes to mind from what you said is knowing our rights and how to, address these things, the approach to take. I mean, it's good to be knowledgeable.
Stand up. Yes. We're not illiterate. The majority of Nigerians are quite learned.
The people that come in here are like the middle class.
Of our society. The generation now of jackpot that are coming in here, like they already employing in Nigeria before they even came here. Yes. So no, please don't let anyone tell you, like challenge the system. There was one more thing I'll mention it. I remember one of our elders in church. He happened to be a huge social services like big boss, he's a consultant, and he said to me, I think another occasion, they always try me. So so I think this occasion they said that I wasn't allowed to leave the boys at the reception. My two sons. I wasn't allowed to leave them in the school reception because the childminder comes in 5 minutes after they have closed. 5 minutes. And that in that 5 minutes, it wasn't their duty of care to look after the boys. And they said they would have to refer this issue to social services. Wait.
5 minutes, all of this.
Wait now.
Okay.
And I said, okay, what would you rather I do? Do I leave them outside the school premises before the childminder comes? They said no. They said I must take on their after school club. Because they have a wraparound after school club in their school. That I must take that on. I have 2 boys. That's going to cost me another money you understand? Like, so I said, really? So I will pay wraparound at school. I will pay childminder to come and pick them up from school. Have you thought about how this would affect my own finances and everything? They didn't care. So I told our elder in church, and he said, okay, tell them to put it in writing. I said, yes, sir. They put it in writing. Now, write back to them and say that you are not going to change what you are doing. Okay. So if they feel the best thing they can do is leave the children outside rather than keeping them inside for 5 minutes before the childminder returns, say that you will see them in court, and the court can decide who was negligent under the circumstances.
Wow.
I said, Uncle, are you sure? Wow. I go to court every day. That's what he said. I go to court every day defending this. Don't worry. Tell them that.
They wouldn't respond.
They didn't respond. They zipped it, and my children continued and finished with the same arrangements in place. So knowing your rights, being educated, even if you're not, ask somebody.
I was just going to say, talk to the right people.
Talk to people. So many people have referred on to my uncle since then. I was like, talk to him. He knows so much about this.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, I mean, the conversation has been so interesting, and it's just as if I want to keep hearing you speak. Like, I don't even want to ask you a question. I just want to be like, just tell me your experience, because there is so much to learn. But before we get to like the final questions and just wrap things up, because again we're conscious of time, and we'd like to go through our quick brain teaser segment, trivia question segment. Moderator, you have a couple of questions for us and our guest today, so if you take your writing pad and it's just breaking the ice, guys. The conversation has been too serious. No, we're not this serious on this podcast.
It's too serious.
We're serious people.
Something fun. We are not serious.
We're not serious people on this podcast. We just like to band and take one or two things away. But we appreciate every lesson that you've shared with us today. Thank you.
So, question 1. Enugu, Kano Pillars, Heartland, and Lobby Stars are famous Nigerian what?
Sorry?
Enugu,
yeah.
Kano Pillars,
okay.
Heartland, and Lobby Stars are famous Nigerian what?
Is that question to you?
It's the both of us. We're supposed to answer answer the question.
Okay,
Then
okay.
we'll see.
Options to make it easier.
Okay.
A. Hotels. B. National parks. C. Football clubs. D. TV soap operas.
I think they're national parks.
To be honest, we have to do this individually.
Oh,
We
okay.
can't collaborate on it.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm
All
sorry,
right.
we can't collaborate
Okay. Oh,
on
I
this.
thought it was so. Oh, okay. Well, so who wins? I'm gonna put.
Okay. Once you're ready, we can continue.
Okay.
Okay, question 2. Which city replaced which other city as Nigeria's capital city in 1991?
I'm gonna fill this one. Carry on.
Oh, okay.
So there are two
So which
answers
city
required.
So
which
two answers.
city
Okay.
replaced the other city as
Okay.
Nigeria's capital city
Okay.
in 1991? So you see the city that was replaced and the city.
Okay.
So city that was before and the city that is now, or that was now made the capital.
No, I thought you
city.
wanted the one that's now made the capital city and then the one that was. That's how the question
Just
comes.
indicates in your answer which
Okay.
one was, which one is.
Okay.
But you know, you
As it
need
is
two-
now.
Yeah, you need two answers or two names.
So that big.
And then final bonus question.
Okay.
Who is the current president of Nigeria?
How can you do that?
What is the?
That's
I don't
too
understand.
easy.
Did you ask a question? Second question already.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
the second
You
one.
didn't say this. Oh, okay. You didn't say which city replaced.
So he's not going to tell us. He's asking us to write the two cities.
Oh, okay. That got
Write it down.
replaced.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's if you know the original city.
Exactly. That question is too easy, please. Would you find something else that's more realistic
Okay.
for us,
Okay.
please?
No, wait.
The last
What
question.
about the ones that What about the ones that then had new names like?
So the question is to write, or the expected answer is to write the previous city, the one that was the capital, and then the new city, the one that was made the capital.
Okay, that's really hard. We'll try.
Okay. And then the last one you have to.
The last one?
President of Nigeria.
Yeah, that was bonus
Oh, it
question.
was a bonus question.
Oh, okay. We know that one.
Abi.
Or would you rather write the name of the local government chairman of
Sorry.
of local government in
You need to ask a British question.
I mean,
You need to ask a British question.
you didn't favor the guys. We could have gone to find one of those life in the UK questions.
This is rigged. This is rigged.
Our guest said it's rigged.
You know what? Yeah, let's switch the last question.
Okay, let's switch it then.
Who was the prime minister when the World War II was on?
Jesus.
Case in point, 1940, 41.
Yeah.
Because I know there was a previous one.
Okay.
What's his name?
You remember the name?
I remember the name, but I should stop. Now this is British. Now this is a British question.
This is a British question.
Yes. Okay.
You want another British question?
Maybe make it 5. I think this is 3 questions now.
This is 3
This
now.
is the 3rd question. Okay.
No, this is the 4th question,
This is the
right?
fourth.
Oh, it's
This
the
is the
4th.
fourth question,
Okay.
Okay. Which flower? Which flower
I know where
is
this is.
associated or represented associated to England?
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
I know that one.
Oh my God. I remember Scotland. I do not remember England. Do we get options?
No.
Just because you want to favor our guest.
No, don't think this question favor me. Like none of them.
Like, of 5. Of 5.
Of 5.
3 favors.
2. Okay, 2 favors.
No, the third one was a bonus question. We won't know that one. Oh my God.
Yeah, okay. Can we use Google?
No. Okay, should we swap the? Is that what you?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh my God.
The Thistle is Scotland. The Thistle is Scotland, but oh my god, I don't know what the UK's flower.
I think this is the right answer.
think so.
Just by that name, I'm just trying to. I know. What's the name? Ha. Anyways, okay.
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 Oh, you got it as well. Oh, did I? Okay, that's
Okay,
it. I
okay.
do remember you say it. You will definitely remember. So let's go.
Nah, hopefully. Let's not do this. Well, obviously.
Okay.
Question one.
Yeah.
Any Locarno Pillars Outland and Lobby Stars name of football club.
Yeah.
She got it.
I guess in National Park. You need to go home often. That's what they say. You need to go home.
Once a year.
Go home more often. Okay.
It's important.
Okay.
Which city replaced which other city as Nigeria's capital since 1991?
Okay,
Abuja.
Nigeria's capital city is
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the question.
Oh.
Okay, now I
She
get
left
I
it
get
blank.
I left
Okay.
it blank. So I didn't
So
understand.
Lagos.
Abuja replaced Lagos.
Lagos.
Okay, yes, of course. I don't.
Yeah. So
Federal
Lagos
capital of
was.
Nigeria.
Abuja is.
Is
Yeah.
now. Okay,
basically.
that's right. She's so good. Carry on.
Okay.
Who is the current president of Nigeria?
We know that.
We know that
one.
one now.
Tinubu.
Tinubu now.
VAT.
Okay.
Winston Churchill, I left it because I was
She left it blank. Winston
Because I
Churchill.
was trying to remember. I knew who it was, but I couldn't remember the name.
Yeah.
Winston
Yeah,
Churchill.
Winston Churchill.
Okay.
And then the flower that represents England
Is
the
Rose.
Rose.
Okay.
Rose.
I just put Rose.
Yeah, I put Rose as well. Which Rose? Which Rose was it?
Tudor Rose.
Tudor Rose. Oh.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
I learned something new today.
Very well. Our guests didn't do too well, but hopefully. I'm not going to show yours. Don't worry.
This is rigged.
It wasn't rigged, guys. You know we don't do that. But yes, that was
I'm
really
joking.
fun. Thank you. I hope you had a good time
Yes, I
doing
did.
that.
Before you guys continue.
Okay.
3 would you rather? I think this is to our guests.
Okay.
So the first one is, would you rather never eat your favorite food again or only be allowed to eat your favorite food?
Okay.
Only why?
Sorry. I said, would you rather? Which one would you pick? Why?
Would you rather never eat your favorite food again or only eat your favorite food day in, day out? Only your favorite food.
So do you like your favorite food that much? To say, okay, I would rather I can have this every day of my life.
Wow. Yes, only.
Only.
Yeah, because I'm allergic to so many things. So, yeah, I would say only.
Okay.
Yeah.
So finding that perfect thing, you'd rather just stick to it.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, that's really boring. Do I don't know.
So you answer the question logically. I do have a favorite food.
I'm not emotional about most things. I'm sorry. I'm not that emotional about things. Sorry, I'm just thinking. I'd rather stick with something that I know I do very well than the endless possibilities of things that I'm not even sure of. Yeah, so I take risks, but yeah. Calculated risks. Thank you.
All right then. Go on, moderator.
Okay. Another very fictional one. Would you rather live in the Marvel universe or the Harry Potter universe?
Marvel.
Okay.
Definitely Marvel. Harry Potter? Oh wow.
Yes.
I'm a Marvel girl.
I'll pick Harry Potter over Marvel.
Yeah.
I saw the recent what's it called, Deadpool and what's his name?
Deadpool, yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine. And I wasn't a big fan, to be honest.
I think the recent ones are not great, but going back, I would say that the old heroes were like they did a lot better than what they're doing now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe on that basis, but I'll go with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But the question was for you, actually.
Yeah. Like we were brought off all these wizardry.
I know, right?
All these
African parents cannot relate.
I couldn't. Well, I wanted to watch it. I let my kids watch it, but in my mind, they were like, Bukky, why are you getting into this? Why are you watching this? And my mom would always remind me, "You're letting those spirits come into you, Bukky. You need to stop."
Okay.
So, but yeah, that's why I focus more on the mouth.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay, the last
Last
one.
one. Would you rather live in a small town your entire life or move to a new city every year?
Ooh, I'd move into a new city every year.
Okay.
That's quite different with food, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
no, small city. Nah, that'd be
no,
boring.
very boring. Actually, if I had a choice, I wouldn't even own um like maybe a house or anything. I would just make sure that I have the best homes wherever I go to, anytime I want to, and anywhere in the world. Yeah, I think it's the experience for me rather than collecting things. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. And yes, so just back to the podcast, guys. I hope you've been having a good time with our guests. I have been having a good time. And yeah, if we just round up things, and I think the last question I had on my list was really around, again, look, looking back and with all that you heard or seen. You in Southampton, I'm sure you've met loads of Africans. Let me start from there, and Nigerians. You've seen a lot. You've probably had lots of experience. And
Yeah.
have you thought about it that and say, oh, this is a good time to be coming into the UK over the time that you previously came in. And I think the other bit to that would be, is there an experience you can share with us of something someone has gone through in these recent times and you're like, nah, or you're like, oh yes, that's
Okay. There's two sides to the
question.
question for
Yeah.
me, and I think things are easier. This is easier in terms of there's a softer landing now for
Immigrant.
for migration. I think things have opened up a lot more. There's a lot more direct channels. There's less possibility of somebody swindling you. The information superhighway has made sure of that. If you want to know about what the NHS is doing, you simply go online and you research. There's no Uncle 419 anywhere that will tell you that come and bring 1 million, I'll get you a passport. No, that's so different. Everything's a lot more transparent now. So in that sense, I'll say yes, things are better because there's a lot more information around. In terms of when you do get here and accessing services, the cost of living, like just the scrutiny in terms of like the way you are able to, should I say, interface with different facets, of parts of society. I think there's a lot more scrutiny now than before. Like from what I remember, you could just go to your GP in the past and just register now. They will ask for your passport.
Yes.
They will ask for
It's
your.
not difficult.
It was shocking to me. I said, "How old do you think my mother is that you're asking?" Says, "No, they needed a passport. They needed to see." I said, "Wow, this has really changed." Even my children that were born here, they wanted to see the birth certificates. We never had that. We never had that. Even going into hospitals now, as I said, in terms of accessing, and the services like available for us to access, even when you have access to it, the offering is dire. That's the word I'm going to use. You go to A&E now
You spend 4 hours before you.
to receive nothing.
Yeah.
So private healthcare for most people, it makes sense if you can afford it. And guess what? A lot of people can't. Immigrants can't afford it because they're still paying the government surcharge. I think there was something recently in the news about Afrikaners, the owners of this brand or supermarket thing, and their surcharge was 26,000, and they're trying to do a crowd like a GoFundMe at the moment because their visas, they can't extend their visas as a result. So it is easier in some aspects and for information and transparency, but look, it's
More
still quite
expensive.
a lot more expensive. Yeah. Is that because there's more of us around? If we were not around, what would be the alternative? I don't know.
Yeah.
If we were not around, what would be the alternative? Would they have the doctors in the hospitals? Would they have the nurses, filling those gaps? So in a way, it's economic migration, yes, we know, but also we're here to improve the economy. So that's how I look at it. It's a balancing act. Actually, is it better over here? I guess in terms of the infrastructure in place as compared to where we're coming from, but quality of life,
Maybe not as good.
I have to ask you.
Well, maybe I can't say because I didn't have the experience then to be able to say. What I find now is like very good because I'm comparing with what I had back home, which is nothing to write home about. So, but here I'll be like, no, this is golden. But for someone like you, you might be like, no, that's not good.
Well, is okay. Okay, let me ask you, when you're in Nigeria and you didn't have money to go to the hospital, what do? Is there anything available?
Yeah, the general
Hospital?
Yes.
Do you get seen
Yes, after hours of
or waiting?
waiting.
How is that different from the NHS now?
Actually not. Actually not. I think it's even faster because it feels like private healthcare is even cheaper back home than it is here.
Thank you.
So
I'm just having my attention. But do you see where I look at it now? Because in hindsight now, I look at what we had back in Nigeria. Yeah, some people did not have to go to general hospital. They went to private clinics, but it was cheaper.
Yeah.
And they could afford it. They could access the private hospital. You want to have your baby quickly. You have this. She stepped on a nail. Tetanus injection.
Yeah.
Before you know it, they'll call. You're in the clinic. Jab done, and you're out. When was the last time you were able to just see a GP or do you understand?
But it's 4 weeks to even get an appointment.
That is what I'm saying. So is it better in this? I think it's the organization for me.
Yeah.
It's the organization is what you're used to. It's a lesser evil, should we say? Because it's what you do. I personally will go back to Nigeria.
I was going to just come to that and say, like, in the end, would you retire back home or would you retire here?
I would should I be honest? Yes. I would not necessarily stay here full time. I would maybe and have a place here that is just for me to come and have a place in somewhere else, not Nigeria. And then I would have you have to be able to be flexible enough to do that financially as well. Course. My dream, is to still have that flexibility to do that when I'm older. But to just be here, I think, no. It's just no.
We can't keep that for long.
No. The colds, everything. Do you know what it's like when you go to Nigeria or what you've been to? You came from Nigeria recently. So, like, in the evenings, just older people just sitting outside.
And the breeze.
And then you see those guys going around. They start singing randomly. And you're like, and they'll just give them. Sometimes you don't even need to give them money. That's what makes people live long in Nigeria. As opposed to here, where are they doing where are they playing the music? I'm just saying.
I feel like it's a rule that by 11 p.m. you shouldn't be making any noise.
Okay, so you don't live in a Butemeta. No. Sorry, you live in Lekki, right? No. I'm just saying because different people.
I'm talking about here, like the fact that it's very different.
I'm talking about Nigeria now. So here is really dry. We know that, but. Back in Nigeria, what sustains us, stops us from being different? Because we go for a lot. People go for a lot in Nigeria. I mean, calls that we get through every single day. I'm so sure you still get, people reaching out and stuff. But the reason we're able to sustain those things is because the social network is there.
Yeah.
The things that sort of feeds us and makes us like be able to rise above those things. Nigerians, come on, we're very, very like
we're the life of the party, we're everything. Yes. We like the bubbly.
Yes, as opposed to even here, even when you have the structure and everything, it can grind you down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't want to end up
in a care home.
No, I don't. That's the truth. I don't want to end up in a care home. I'd rather be sitting in a Butemeta, sit down and hey, come, please bring them. No, please bring two. Please help me get some soap of them, please. I want some.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Vicky. Thank you. It was great having you on the podcast. I particularly had fun and I learned a lot from you. And I hope you guys out there learned a lot from this conversation. And if you have any questions, as usual, engage with this post.
Yeah.
Leave your comment down below, and we'll be sure to get back to you. Thank you very much for sticking with us to the end. As always, we implore you, we beg you. I mean, your engagement is what keeps us going. It's what makes us continue this podcast. It's not easy, guys. I mean, you've had all the experience of what it is like living abroad. So having to do this on the side, guys, we need that encouragement from you to keep supporting us, and then we'll keep doing this and keep bringing insightful conversations like this to you. So thank you. Hit that subscribe button, like, engage with the comments, and we'll see you again on the next episode. Happy Jackpot.